Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to episode 55 of Extreme Evocast. Almost forgot what letter, or what number. Hello? I should not be recording this episode today. An all-purpose Pokemon podcast where we talk about news, trivia, and everything related to Pokemon. I am your wonderfully bodacious host, Lillieceon. And let's get right into it, shall we? How have you been doing today, dear listener? I've been doing pretty good. Recording this episode a little bit of a day later than normal. The episodes usually come out on Wednesday, but I'm doing this on Wednesday night, which is fine. I've been pretty busy with school. I haven't really been able to stream recently. I've been, busy with friends, busy with other projects, things like that. But of course, I never don't give myself time to do Evocast. Just had dinner. Sort of, winding down for the night. Doing laundry right now, taking a shower. This is a personal podcast now, by the way. I'm not gonna talk about Pokemon anymore. I just wanted to tell you about my day, and I was thinking about having this episode's topic be about what I was gonna have for breakfast tomorrow morning. I hope you're excited about the changes to coming to this podcast. Anyway. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some news for today. We don't really have that much, and if you're familiar with this podcast, you'll know that today's episode is going to be a slight bit of a doozy because it is another episode of Type Review, one of the longest episodes by date, I think, like one of the longest, running sort of segments that I have, not in terms of how long it's been active in the podcast, but I mean, that might also be true, but also just because of how long it tends to keep the episode going to. So sort of similar to 2 episodes ago, this might be a little bit of a longer one, mostly because of Type Review tending to take a huge chunk of time. And though in saying that, most of the time, whenever I say that it's going to be a long episode, it's never a long episode. It's like 45 minutes, which is like a completely average length episode. Anyway, I digress. This episode may or may not be long. You might already be chuckling to yourself because you can see you can see the length of this episode, and it's probably like 35 minutes long. But let's talk about the news. We don't have much on the verge of news for today, though it is very sort of there's a lot of it, but at the same time it's not interesting. Apologies for my harsh choice of words there, but it's it's just sort of updates going on, nothing too crazy, nothing new, just like, oh, this game is getting this, Pokemon Go is getting some new stuff, blah blah blah. Simple as that. But we're still going to go through them just for the formalities. And of course, we're going to start with the trio, the 3 things that I talk about the most on the news. Pokemon Go is getting quite a few just random updates. Let's see. This is coming from Cerebi, by the way. Cerebi says there is a Pokemon Snap tie-in week event. Week is twice. It focused on an increase in spawns of Pokemon from the game, as well as Shiny Smeargle. And this literally just got revealed today, so there's no way of knowing what they are yet, but that is coming soon. And speaking of that, I guess it's a good time to say new Pokemon Snap is coming out really soon. Well, in 2 weeks, but still, that's really soon. And I'm so excited about it. April 30th. Oh man, I really didn't realize how fast it was coming. And it's, less than or a little more than 2 weeks away. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too. There's quite a few things on here, I think, sort of leading up to the release of them, sort of events that tie in to the new Pokemon Snap. This event in Pokemon Go being one of them. Other than that, Pokemon Go has a few other things. An update coming out soon? Yes. Coming out on April 20th and only running until April 25th. It's about Sustainability Week, and it focuses on an increase in spawns from Pokemon such as Grimer, Trubbish, and Binacle, which Binacle and Trubbish can be shiny. Run-of-the-mill sort of Pokemon Go event, new Pokemon increasing, different raids, blah, blah, blah. It's a little bit redundant, I think, to talk about them, but Sometimes I don't get to cover as much news as much as I'd like to, so they're sort of good like filler, and good for anyone who is really into Pokemon Go and might benefit from hearing about these updates. Other than that, though, there are a few things in Pokemon Go that are kind of interesting. There was an April 1st event that obviously I'm not going to be talking about because it's all, it's over. I'm not going to be talking about it like it's still going on. As well as an Easter event where the April 1st event was like mischievous Pokemon could be found with like Krogunk and Team Rocket, more Team Rocket Go or Team Go Rocket trainers, things like that. And the Easter event was, well, of course, it wasn't called the Easter event, but it was increase in egg Pokemon, bunny Pokemon, Lopunny, Bunnelby, the spring into spring. It's like they can't call it Easter. There's another, I think Pokemon Masters also had like an Easter event, but they can't call it an Easter event because Easter is a religious holiday. So it's, they probably shouldn't talk about that in like their Pokemon game. So they just call it like, the spring event, but everyone knows it's the Easter event. It's literally why they're happening. You could get Flower Crown Happiny and Flower Crown Chansey. I didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah, it's like, it's not just spring. It's like, rabbit Pokemon. It's like, why else would that be the case if it wasn't Easter? But yeah, those are already sort of talked about or already sort of passed, so there's no sense talking about them now. But, but it's interesting to know that they are doing things like that. Like, especially the April 1st event, which was it wasn't like a joke or anything. It was just sort of like, mischievous Pokemon like Krogunk are coming more. The same cannot be said for Pokemon Sword and Shield, which did get an April 1st update, and it was actually a change in the wild area sort of Pokemon. And it was on April 1st, you could find Magikarp in the raids, and they're not able to be caught. So they're just completely uncatchable. Literally Magikarp is the only thing that you can find in max raids for like, I think the entirety of April 1st, or like, in one of the event dens. It was all Magikarps and they could not be catched. So, interesting. Very funny, Magikarp, the joke Pokemon, can't catch it. Haha, very funny, Nintendo. Very funny, Game Freak. Other than that, though, not really anything else I think was done for April Fool's Day, other than the practical joke played on, in big quotes there, practical joke played on us by Game Freak with the Magikarps, and also the Krogunk event in Pokemon Go. Back on the serious side, there are two more things to say with Pokemon Go, one of which is the recently passed Snivy Community Day, which I believe was literally last weekend, like 3 days ago. Again, judging by my schedule, it's pretty much guaranteed by now that I will not be able to participate in the community days anymore, pretty much. I mean, I don't really even play Pokemon Go anymore. But, every now and then I like to contribute to them or take part in them, but this weekend unfortunately was not one I was able to, so no shiny Snivy for me. But I did hear about a few friends who got some shiny Snivies, and I did hear some good things about the community day in general. So that happened. We don't know which one is going to be next just yet, but that'll probably come soon. We'll probably know, guaranteed to know, I assume, by next episode, and even then the community day might even be like soon by the time next episode comes out, so tune in for that. And last but not least, as of April 1st, not necessarily a April Fool's Day event, you're able to get Shadow Zapdos from Giovanni, which I honestly, judging by how much I play Pokemon Go, I didn't even know that you could get Shadow Legendaries from Giovanni. Like, I know Giovanni was in there. I know he was a thing, but I literally didn't even know what he did and why he was in, like what made him different from the Team Go Rocket trainers. I sort of left Pokemon Go as soon as that kind of stuff started popping up, so I don't really know too much about what the Team Go Rocket stuff even is necessarily. But hey, you can get Shadow Zapdos now. Alright, enough about Pokemon Go and on to a game like Pokemon Cafe Mix, which has literally one thing to say about, and it's that Galarian Slowpoke is here through April 21st. Moving on, Pokemon Masters also had some similarly themed events, like an Easter event. There was May and Lopunny, which I think is actually still going on. It's not that far into Easter. Yeah, it's until April 16th. So literally 2 days. One day after the release of this episode. So if you're listening to this on the day of release, have fun. You can get May and Lopunny, Berg, and Togepi. Other than that, though, there are more main story stages coming, as well as Zinnia and Rayquaza, May and Mudkip, Brandon and Trico, and then a solo event, Trials on the Isle, and focuses on the Alola characters. On the realms of merch, which is sort of the not talked about nearly enough merch section of the news, there are Wooloo and Snom cushions. God, they know exactly how to appeal to literally everyone on planet Earth. A bunch of new plushies, like a 22.5-inch Mimikyu plushie, which is pretty much... Actually, hold on. Is that bigger than life size? How tall is Mimikyu? Pretty sure Mimikyu is bigger than... Yeah, it's not even a foot. It's 8 inches. 8 inches tall. Wow, that's really small. So it's like a 3 times size Mimikyu plushie. So it's not only life size, but it's 3 times the size. So yeah, there's all those things are coming out pretty soon. They might be released already. I'm not sure. You can look at the PokeJungle Twitter account, which is where I found all of these things. And last but not least, there is a Pikachu Moods collection starting with Sleepy, which is sort of coming out as time goes on. There's like different moods of Pikachu. And the first one is Sleepy Pikachu. And, I think there's like 7 other ones that are coming out over time. So look for those in the future. Now, if you notice anything is different about my voice or about the way that I'm talking, it's actually much later. I actually just took a break from doing Evocast. I was kind of, I wasn't feeling it as much as I normally was. I wanted to sort of take a step back and be like, okay, I'll do this later. And I drew for a little bit, was a little bit creative, and before I knew it, it was multiple hours later, and it's actually very late, or should I say early, in the morning now. So I do have to be a little bit quieter, but hopefully it's not too bad. But with that, I think it's time to move on to the next segment, which of course is everybody's favorite segment, where we talk about a random Pokemon every episode, Random Pokemon of the Week, and today's Pokemon is number 573. If you can guess what that is, I'll give you a second, as always. It's, I actually don't know how to pronounce this Pokemon's name, Cinccino? It's based on a chinchilla, right? So, Cinccino? I assume Cinccino? Actually, hold on. It's probably it's a combination of chinchilla and chino cloth. Okay, so it's Cinccino. Anyway, Cinccino is a normal type Pokemon introduced in Generation 5. It evolves from Minccino when exposed to a shiny stone. I'm just noticing how raspy my voice is. I think it's because I stayed up a little bit too late, but you're going to have to deal with that for the rest of the episode. I'm sorry. My voice is not doing so well. I haven't even really been talking that much, so I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, Cinccino has the ability Cute Charm or Technician or Skill Link as its hidden ability. It has a 25 male, 75 female ratio. It is 1'8" and 16.5 pounds, or 0.5 meters, or 7.5 kilograms. Cinccino has always been a Pokemon that I really enjoy. It's I wouldn't say necessarily that Minccino and Cinccino are like just boring normal types of Generation 5, but like that's kind of exactly what they are. I mean, they're uninteresting in general, but like I always personally found a liking to them. I mean, I used a Chinchino on my sword team when I first played through the game. I forget her name. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I used a Chinchino on my sword team, and it was fun. It was good. It was interesting to use a Pokemon that I have never used before. And you know, I don't know if I've ever used one before in like Black and White or Black 2, White 2. But as far as I know, this was the first time using one, and its design is pretty cool. I kind of like how it's literally just Minccino, but it gets like insane hair and like crazy amounts of like scarves and tails and some whatever the hell is going on here. I really, yeah, you know, it's nice. It's not too crazy of an evolution, but at the same time, I think it could be maybe made a little bit different. But it is what it is, and I have found a liking to it personally. But other than that, I'm not really sure there's much else to say about it. It isn't in Mystery Dungeon, or like the first Mystery Dungeon, so we can't do that. We can look at Pokedex entries real quick, something that I normally forget to do. Their white fur is coated in a special oil that makes it easy for them to deflect attacks. Their white fur feels amazing to touch. Their fur repels dust and prevents static electricity from building up. Oh, that's right. They're all about like cleaning, aren't they? Like they're all, you know, sparkly, making themselves and making things clean, right? Makes sense. That's it. Literally, like, okay, hold on. Its body secretes oil, and that this Pokemon spreads all over its nest as a coating to protect from dust. Chinchino won't tolerate even a speck of the stuff, so they're very perfectionist when it comes to cleaning. They're all about cleaning. I don't know why they decided that this Pokemon is all about cleaning. Maybe it's like something related to chinchillas? No. It's a reference to how chinchillas are controversially hunted for their fur. That is horrible. I wish I didn't read that. Due to an error, Chinchino is unable to learn Thief via TM in Pokemon Black and White, while its pre-evolution Minccino does. This issue is later fixed in Black 2, White 2. Cool. Good that they fixed that. Chinchino in its pre-evolved form, could have just said pre-evolution, were designed by Atsuko Nishida, and almost no changes were made to her original designs. They were intended to be parallels of Clefairy and Clefable, Pokemon that everyone would think they were cute. Nishida was hired specifically for her reputation in Game Freak and her skill in designing cute characters. Well, look at that. Imagine being known as the person who makes the cute Pokemon. I wish that were me. I wish I could do that. Like, hey, Game Freak, hire me. Let me just design literally the cutest Pokemon of all time. I guess she's already, that job is already taken up by Miss Nishida, but hey, I can help. You never know. Anyway, what else is there to talk about Chinchino? I guess its shiny form is it. Now, I actually don't really, I'm not too familiar with Chinchino's shiny form, and I know that Minccino's is very boring. It barely changes. Hold on, I'm gonna look at Minccino's real quick just to yeah, it's just pink. And the inside of its ear gets green. But Chinchino, well, I don't really know. I was going to say that this is better, but I don't actually know if that's true. It's kind of gross, the color. It's like a baby barf green. And the inside of the ear is like a purple. Green and purple don't necessarily look bad together, but when it's like a vomit green, maybe they kind of do. I don't know if you could classify this as a vomit green, but it certainly looks like it. Hold on, I'm gonna color pick this and see if this is exactly the color that I'm thinking of, because it's hard to sort of tell. Okay, it's more of like a beige than anything, but it's definitely like too. It's like it's on the verge of being gross, disgusting green. I don't really like it that much. It's kind of not good. I'm not gonna lie. All right, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. No, I need to be a little harsher. A 5 out of 10. No, a 4. Yes, 4 seems right. 4. It's not good. It's really not good. I mean, it's like it's better than Minccino's in terms of like the color changes, but it's gross. It doesn't look good. Like when I'm evaluating a shiny Pokemon, I have to go for, does it change a lot, but at the same time, does it look good? Even it could change the Pokemon's colors into absolutely insane color palette, but if it doesn't look good, it's not a good shiny. And I think Cinccino is a good example of this. It looks gross. So 4 out of 10 for me. And we're going to move on to Cinccino in competitive Pokemon. So, Cinccino has an HP stat of 75, an attack stat of 95, a defense and a special defense of 60, a special attack of 65, and a speed of 115. Excuse me. It is in the NU tier, which is never used. This is written by Just Dune Smits. While Cinccino has a great speed tier and an array of moves bolstered by Skill Link, it struggles to break through most teams due to middling power, mediocre bulk, and lack of opportunities to switch in. Cinccino struggles to break through common physically defensive Pokemon such as Steelix, Rocky Helmet Weezing, and Ferroseed. Other wall breakers like Sneasel, Heliolisk, and Aerodactyl provide better stab moves with higher offenses, defensive utility, and even stab priority in Sneasel's case. Only use Cinccino as a team mascot because it's too cute to be injured in battle. You know, I mean, that makes sense. Skill Link is really good, but there's so many other Pokemon that have access to it that are they're just better. Like Cloyster, Ambipom. I guess that's kind of it, but still, you know, kind of outclassed in that case. Its gimmick is not very great in that sense, as far as I'm getting from this overview. But if you really want to use Cinccino, which I did on my Sword team, you can give it Tail Slap, Rock Blast, Bullet Seed, Knockoff, with a Choice Band, Ability Skill Link, and Jolly Nature, with 252 attack EVs, 4 defense EVs, and 252 speed EVs. Now, going with the tradition of Evocast, where we're starting back up the segment, I guess, you know, this like episodical series that we have going on in Evocast, where every so often I take a type and I talk about it. I talk about everything. I talk about all the Pokemon, all the moves, the trainers, items, things like that. We go over types. This is the 7th one, I believe. And today, I don't know why, but I was feeling like talking about dragon types. And dragon types we're going to talk about. Dragon types are, I believe they are the least plentiful. No, that's not true. I take it back. It's one of the least plentiful types, but it is not very plentiful. It is the 4th rarest type, tied with electric at 61 Pokemon. But it's a very infamous type. It's infamous and famous, I suppose. Very obviously, all of the pseudo legendaries are dragon, except for Tyranitar. There's some really cool legendaries that are dragon type. There's some awesome, memorable Pokemon that are dragon type. Just a cool type all around. And I want to give this type justice. I want to talk about this type as much as I can, and really just go through everything about this type, because it's one of, if not, I think, in my opinion, the most unique type. And just in general, in terms of concept as well. Dragon, then, makes no sense. In Gen 1, what were they thinking? Dragon? Like, it makes sense now, but if you really think about it, dragon type isn't really like an element. There's no dragon element. I guess dragon types have sort of evolved into anything that is powerful enough or weird enough to be considered a dragon. A dragon doesn't necessarily have to be a physical dragon. Dragon is just a very, ancient, special powers, strange abilities Pokemon. Like, for example, Drampa. Another example, Goodra. That's not a dragon. That's just a goop monster. But what else would it be? It's a weird creature. I mean, I guess it is kind of a dragon, but not really. So if you get what I'm saying here, you'll understand. Dragon is famous for being strange, weird, but at the same time, just really cool. So, Dragon, overall, has a statistical average of 546.98, just so close to 247 overall statistical average, which is, of course, every Pokemon, their stat averages added together and then divided by how many Pokemon there are, gets you that stat total. And honestly, that's really high. And also, the averages for fully evolved Pokemon is 625. Very, very, very high. I'm almost certain that if you're above 600, you are classified as a pseudo-legendary Pokemon, or close to it. So every average Dragon-type Pokemon is considered a pseudo-legendary or just a legendary in general. This is because there are a lot of legendaries that are Dragon-type, and that makes sense. Strange, odd, but powerful. So Dragon-type in Generation 1 is literally only good against itself, and that is still the case. It is still only good against itself. It is also, it resists electric, fire, grass, and water. And both dragon and ice type are super effective against it. And the only changes after the fact are when fairy and steel were added in Gen 2 and Gen 7, or Gen 6, where it is now, Dragon now deals half damage against Steel type, which I actually did not know. So before it had no, it didn't do not very effective damage against anything. And in Generation 2, that changed to Steel. And also, Dragon doesn't affect Fairy, which was, the big counter to it pretty much. And also, Fairy is super effective against Dragon. So not many interactions. It resists the four major elements: water, grass, fire, electric. Super effective against it is both dragon, fairy, and ice, which, dragon kind of makes sense. Dragons are good against dragon. Fairies are good against dragon. I'm not going to even think about why that works. And ice, it freezes them? I don't know. Who knows? Again, not going to think about it too hard because dragon is just a really strange type. But all around a very powerful type. One of the most powerful types. Generation 1 only had one dragon type. Well, one dragon type line, which of course was the Dratini line. And I guarantee you, if dragon had access to better moves than just Dragon Rage, which only does 40 HP no matter what, and it had some more Pokemon maybe, I think Dragon would have been one of the best types in Generation 1, which of course that spot was taken by Psychic type. But, moving on, many Dragon type are pseudo-legendary or legendary Pokemon. Partly because of this, Dragon have the highest HP, average HP, and base stat total of all types. So yes, the Dragon types have the highest average base stat total, which of course is because there's so many legendaries that are Dragon type. And offensively, in addition to HP, Dragon types also have the highest average special attacks of all types of Pokemon and fully evolved Pokemon. Dragon is also tied with Ghost for the type with the least resistance. The dragon type can only deal super effective damage to itself. And when Mystery Terrain is in effect, the power of dragon type moves is decreased by 50% if the target is on the ground. In contests, dragon types are typically cool, but some may be beautiful or tough. None of them are cute or clever. You tell me dragons can't be cute? There's some cute dragons out there. Axew, Dratini. What are you talking about? As of Generation 8, there are 61 Dragon-type Pokemon, or 6.79% of all Pokemon, counting those that are Dragon-type in at least one of their forms, including Mega Evolutions and Alolan forms, making it the fourth or fifth rarest type, tying with Electric. And of course, we have, you can't see my screen, but I am scrolling back and forth between the list of Dragon-type Pokemon, which there aren't that many. And in fact, usually I save these for last, but I'm kind of just going to go through them now. Obviously, we have Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite, which are the OGs. I would say the only Gen 1 Pokemon to be Dragon-type, but that's not really true anymore with Alolan forms and Galarian forms, but we're not going to think about that. They were the OG. Dragonite, the original dragon, which even then, I think it's a little goofy to be a dragon, but still, can't disrespect the original dragon. These are just pure type dragon types, but it's not really going in order, by the way. Next is Bagon. That's definitely not the next dragon type, but we're going to go in order. Actually, hold on, it might be. Oh my god, it is? No, it's not. Never mind, I take it back. Let's go in order of how they are given to me in Bulbapedia. So Bagon, Shelgon, and Salamence. Technically, it's just Bagon and Shelgon, but we're going to talk about the lines. We're not going to skip any. Bagon and Shogun are good dragons. I think one of the only dragons in the game to sort of go into a shell and like a cocoon. Who knows? Maybe ancient folklore tells of dragons going into, going through metamorphosis. But interesting Pokemon nonetheless. Axew, Fracture, and Haxorus. There's not that many pure dragon types, which makes sense. I mean, dragons are usually accompanied by either flying or something else. But the ones that are there, like the Axew line, are very good, very famous Pokemon, very enjoyed Pokemon. Haxorus in particular. And then there's Druddigon, who I unfortunately cannot say the same for. I like Druddigon, if that means anything. Druddigon, you are enjoyed by at least one person, and that's me. There might be other people out there who also enjoy Druddigon, but for as far as I can tell, Druddigon is liked by at least one Pokemon, and that's saying something. I'm a Pokemon? I'm a person. Druddigon is liked by at least one person, and that's me. And that's saying something. Gumi, Slugoo, Goodra. Not really sure how these are dragons, but again, like I said before, what else would they be? They're goop. They are slime. They wouldn't be grass type. They're not grass. They're not plants. They are just goop. Not sure really how that works. They are draconic goop. Ancient, mythical slime. And you know what? I'm in love with these Pokemon. I love them. And I'm very, very happy that they were added in Gen 6. One of the reasons why Gen 6 is one of my favorite generations is literally just because of Goodra. I love Goodra. One of my favorite Pokemon. Definitely, I think, my favorite dragon type of all time. Maybe except Mega Charizard. But I don't know. It's up there. It is high up there on my list. Jangmo-o apparently is also pure dragon type, not fighting type like his friends, his brother and his dad. But I guess we can talk about them now. I really like Hakamo-o and Kommo-o. I like this line. Dragon fighting is something that I never really considered before, but it's really cool. It's a really cool line. I think that a lot of people don't think about it too much and really give them the credit where credit is due. Very solid Pokemon, in my opinion. I think that, despite being the Gen 7 pseudo-legendaries, I don't think a lot of people give them as much love as they deserve. I like you, Kommo and Hakamo and Jangmo-o, I guess, but, again, that's saying something. They're good. I like their design a lot. I think they're like, all jokes aside, I think that these Pokemon are genuinely really unique, just in general. I think that they're wonderful. I think that such a cool design. I'm not going to dwell too much on these three. We'll have an opportunity to talk about them in the future if one of them ever comes up on Random Pokemon of the Week. So I'm going to move on. The last pure Dragon type Pokemon is Regidrago, which I kind of already forgot existed, and I feel bad about that because that's cool. Regidrago is cool. I didn't forget about Regieleki. I think about Regieleki pretty much every day, but Regidrago just falls under the radar. But Regidrago is cool. What's it got going on? It's like a red orb. It's made of like pure draconic energy. I'm gonna look at its Pokedex entries. Its body is composed of crystallized dragon energy. What does that mean? What is dragon energy? That's a made-up concept. I mean, everything in Pokemon is made up. Still, that's pushing it, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of like weird dragons, but when you tell me that there's something called dragon energy, I'm a little skeptical. Anyway, again, another Pokemon that I'm kind of skeptical of being a dragon, Altaria. Why is it a dragon? It's a bird. In fact, it is not a dragon. I think that just that alone can classify it as not a dragon. I'm kidding, mostly. I think Altaria is really cool. I think the fact that it's a dragon is like really, really cool. And also one of the only dragon fairy type in existence. Its mega form, I mean. Very, very cool. Very unique Pokemon. I really like Altaria, but I don't know why it's a dragon, but I'm not upset about it. Latios and Latias. Oh, very, very good, iconic, legendary Pokemon. I love, if you know me and you listened to that episode that I talked about Pokemon Heroes, I love Latios and Latias. One of my favorite legendary Pokemon of all time. So good. Just very solid. I think my conclusion, I can already give my conclusion for this type. So cool. So many cool Pokemon. We've been going through so many really, really cool Pokemon so far. Rayquaza, again, so cool. Gible, Gabite, Garchomp. They're not pseudo-legendaries, huh? No, they are. Garchomp's, yeah. Sometimes I struggle to remember the pseudo-legendaries. There's so many of them. Garchomp doesn't come across to me as a pseudo-legendary for some reason. I'm not really sure why. It's not... it's scary. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I played Pokemon Platinum. I know how scary Garchomp can be, but at the same time, I don't know. It doesn't, I think it's like one of the least pseudos out there. Compared to the other ones, it's very small, very thin. It's very like lean. It's not big and bulky like the rest of the pseudo legendaries, which I guess, gives a little bit of difference from the rest of them, but it's like one of the least pseudos out there, in my opinion. Of course, we also have the megas. I haven't been talking about the megas. There's literally been like 6 of them in a row. Altaria, Salamence, Latios, Latias, Rayquaza, and now Garchomp. They're literally all in a row. Well, they're cool. They stay dragon when they evolve, when they mega evolve. I'm going to save that for when I talk about the Pokemon, at least. And then immediately, 4 legendaries. Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, and Zygarde. I'm going to talk about Zygarde in a second, but, these 3, Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, good, solid fire types. All of them have such good designs because of their type. Fire, electric, and ice. Great concepts, the first of their kind. Dragon Fire, Dragon Electric, Dragon Ice. That's cool. That's really cool. I'm glad that we got... those interesting type combinations had to happen eventually. And Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem are all 3 of them very, very solid Pokemon. And also very sort of involved in my Pokepark 2 streams. Which, yes, this is turning into a promotion for myself. I am in the process of streaming Pokepark 2, Wonders Beyond, after talking about the first one last episode. So if you're interested in watching me play Pokepark 2, Wonders Beyond, you should go ahead and catch my streams, twitch.tv/Lillieceon. And if you're listening to this later, like in a couple weeks where I have definitely already finished it and talked about it on an Evocast, you should go follow me anyway. I stream lots of Pokemon on there. And I was going to say if you're a Pokemon fan, but why would you be listening to this if you're not a Pokemon fan? So you're a Pokemon fan, you're listening to this right now, go follow my streams. I play lots of Pokemon on there. I also play lots of Pokemon, I'm in the process of uploading Pokemon-based YouTube videos to my YouTube channel, also called Lillieceon. And while you're at it, go subscribe to the Evocast's YouTube. It's just Extreme Evocast. I've separated it now from my main channel. It's on its own channel. I'm surprised I haven't talked about this on Evocast yet. But yeah, it's on its own channel. It's just called Extreme Evocast. If you want to get updates on when it's out and you don't want to listen to it on something like Spotify or iTunes, it's on YouTube for completely free. I will never charge money for Evocast. That's my sort of, go-to thing. And putting them on YouTube is sort of my way of saying never even, not even going to consider it. Anyway, Zygarde is why I wanted to pause and talk about Zygarde, because I take back what I said about Goodra being my favorite dragon type. It's Zygarde. And specifically, 10%. Zygarde 10% is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. In fact, when I was making a team with a friend where we got like 6 of our favorite Pokemon, we got like a huge list of all of our favorite Pokemon, and we made a competitive team based on it. We considered type matchups, team roles, fully evolved Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. And Zygarde 10% is on that team. Very good Pokemon competitively. It's OU. It's not fantastic, but it has, 1,000 arrows. It's Ground Dragon, which is a really good typing. Just one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Normal Zygarde is fine. I really like normal Zygarde, but 10%. That is perfect character design, in my opinion. It's just a dog. And that's why I like it so much. Anyway, this is it for the primary Dragon-type Pokemon, and it is Dreepy. The Dreepy line, Dreepy, Dracloak, and Dragapult. Again, very, very solid Dragon-type Pokemon. I think I've already talked about them in a different episode, probably the Ghost-type review. But very good Pokemon. Dreepy, Dracloak, and Dragapult. Good pseudo-legendaries. Gen 8 had really, really good pseudo-legendaries, in my opinion. Very iconic, very high favorite from a lot of people. Also just very good competitively, very scary, and I don't like it. Dragapult, solid. Secondary dragon type Pokemon, first of all, Mega Charizard X. Okay. You know how I feel about that. If you listen to the entirety, or even at least I guess like the first 20 minutes of the tier list video, the tier list Evocast episode that we did, me and my friend, where we ranked every single Generation 1 Pokemon, which you should definitely go watch if you haven't already. It's really funny. And also, YouTube video, still going to come out eventually about that. Mega Charizard X is not one of my favorites. If you watch that video, you'll know that I enjoy Charizard Y so much more. But, as a lover and a believer of Charizard, X is fine. It's good. It's fine. It's not my favorite, but it's good. Definitely like my least favorite form of Charizard of all time. But that's saying something because there's not that many. Next, Alolan Exeggutor. And can I just say, this is exactly what I think of every time I'm like, oh, Dragon-type Pokemon can also just be weird things, because like Goodra, that's a little bit understandable. Its final evolution kind of looks like a dragon. It has a big tail. It's got little horn things, antenna. But Exeggutor, it's just a really tall palm tree, I'm convinced that they gave this dragon because they wanted to give it something else and they could not think of anything. It's like, I'm not going to look at it right now, but I don't think its dragon type is ever explained. It's literally just It's weird. It's taller now, so it's a dragon, you know? That's what I mean about dragon type. Also, just being reserved for weird Pokemon. Kind of in the same boat, Mega Ampharos. That's not a dragon. That's a sheep. Ampharos is just a sheep. Or some weird sheep thing. Anyway, it grows hair, and now all of a sudden it's a dragon. That's not a dragon. That's an Ampharos. So it's weird. So it gets the dragon type. You see what I'm trying to say here? Kingdra, I mean, I kind of get it. It's a seahorse. It's a dragon. I don't know. It looks dragon-like. Also, I think Gen 2 just needed more dragon types. So, I accept that Kingdra is dragon type. Kingdra, maybe if it came out today, people would be like, why is it a dragon type? But I have sort of accepted already that Kingdra is a dragon type in my brain. So it doesn't seem nearly as weird to me. Mega Sceptile, again, kind of in the same boat, doesn't really make sense as a dragon type, but I can see it. Maybe because it's been out for a while, not as new as Exeggutor. It's interesting. Very cool Mega, though, I will say. Good typing for it. Great. It fits it, in my opinion. But just a solid dragon-type Pokemon. Vibrava and Flygon, not pseudo-legendaries, which, I always, for a while, Kid Lillie thought that these were pseudo-legendaries. Gen 3 has like 4 pseudo-legendaries. It has like the Salamence, it has Metagross, and also I guess Flygon. Flygon's not a pseudo-legendary, but it looks like it, and it feels like it because it's a dragon type, and its stats are high. You know what I mean? Gen 3 really just added a lot of good, powerful Pokemon. And Flygon is one of them. Unfortunately, not a pseudo-legendary, but still just a really cool dragon-type Pokemon. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. Another solid trio of dragon-type Pokemon with never-before-seen typings. Steel, Water, Ghost. Good. Hydreigon and Dino and Zweilous, the pseudo-legendaries of Gen 5, which there's a little bit of a pattern here. We go from like legendaries to pseudos, and then to like some megas that are also dragon. Pseudo-legendary. I like Hydreigon. It's good. Solid dragon type. That's literally just a dragon. Like that makes sense to me as being a dragon. That is a dragon. That's 3 dragons, actually. Dragalge. It's like in the same line as like Kingdra. It's like, yeah, it's like a big, powerful fish. Not really a dragon, but like it makes sense that it's a dragon. Tyrant and Tyrantrum. Rock dragon. Makes sense. We had to have a fossil. I suppose we had to have a dragon type fossil eventually, which we did have more of them later. But Tyrantrum, I mean, it's a T-Rex. That's about as dragon. That's about as real of a dragon as you can get in real life without being mythical. So that makes sense to me. Noivern, Noibat and Noivern, not really dragons. These are bats. These, bats are not dragons. But them being only flying type kind of just would suck. So, flying dragon sort of makes sense to me. Turtonator, that's a dragon. That's a fire dragon. Drampa, that's not, it is a dragon. It's literally like a Chinese dragon, but that's a weird dragon. But, I'll accept it. That's a dragon. Guzzlord is not a dragon. This has no longer become, is it, like, how do I feel about this Pokemon? Is it a dragon? Or is it weird? And Guzzlord is weird. Guzzlord is not a dragon. Guzzlord is weird. Ultra Necrozma, that's a dragon. That's about as dragon as you can get, in my opinion. That looks like that's a light dragon, Necrozma, I actually didn't even know that Ultra Necrozma was dragon. That's really interesting. But good. Just, again, more legendaries being dragon type. Naganadel makes sense to me. Okay, here are the weird ones. there's been weird ones, but here's a weird one. Sorry, I guess I should say Applin. Now, Flapple is a dragon. That's a lizard. That's a flying lizard. That's a dragon in my book. Any lizard that can fly, that's a dragon. But Appleton? I mean, I guess it's a big lizard. It's a big apple lizard, and I suppose if we're thinking about it logically, if a T-Rex is a dragon, then a Stegosaurus could also be a dragon. So this is a dinosaur. We're going the Tyrantrum route, I suppose, with Appleton. And Applin, I suppose, just has to be dragon, because it's like part lizard, and also so it can fit with its evolutions. Makes sense to me. Dracozolt, Dracovish, Draco's in the name. I'm not going to explain this one to you. But good. I'm actually glad that they added more dragon-type fossils. I think that Dracovish and Dracozolt, oh boy, I'm going to do like a whole episode about them at some point, these four, because they got some weird stuff going on. They got a lot of lore. They got a lot of things I don't appreciate too much. But also I do appreciate them. Yeah, we're going to do an episode about these four, but for now, those are dragons. Getting to the end here, Duraludon. I mean, yeah, that's a dragon. that has to be a dragon. But it's a good dragon. It's a very good dragon. Dragon is slowly going to become that word that you say it so many times it loses its meaning. It's getting there. It's getting really close. Duraludon is a good dragon. I like it. A good Pokemon. And last but not least, Eternatus. Now, I mean, physically, that is a dragon. And I like that it's Poison Dragon. We only had two other Poison Dragons, Dragalge and Naganadel. And I think that, I mean, if anything, I think that what other type would Eternatus be? If not like a type that doesn't exist yet. Fairy type, maybe. But like Poison Dragon, I think, is a perfect fit for Eternatus. And, fitting that our last dragon is a legendary, because that's like 99% of these Pokemon. Anyway, that was a doozy. That was probably that's probably like the funnest times that I've just like gone through a list of Pokemon and talked about them, because it was also kind of a mini game where it was, is this a dragon, or is this weird, or is it just not a dragon at all? And it was fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you did. But we're not done yet. We have a few more things to talk about. We have, most importantly, the moves, which I'm going to go in order of generation, like I always do. Dragon Rage is the first move, the only dragon type move in Generation 1, which of course is before what I said, the reason why dragon types sucked in that game. Or dragon types, I could just say Dragonite. I'm pretty sure Dragonite was still really good. It just like dragon type was not the monster that it could have been, because it only had one move. Dragon's super effective against dragon, but the move that's super effective against, the only move that dragons can use to inflict super effective damage on other dragons, only does 40 damage. So what's the point? That was a mistake by Game Freak, and I'm glad that they added 3 more of them in Generation 2, because it needed it. It added Dragon Breath, Outrage, and Twister. We have a special one, 2 special ones in fact, and an Outrage, which is a crazy good move. It just attacks over and over and over again until you get confused. Just a really, really good move. Gen 3 only added 2 Dragon-type moves with Dragon Claw and Dragon Dance. Ooh. Now, only adding 2 is fine, because Dragon Dance, one of the best moves in the entire game, in my opinion. So many Pokemon can just sweep with Dragon Dance. That is a doozy of a move. In Generation 4, we got 5. Draco Meteor, very, very famous move. Very, very, well-known good move, Dragon Pulse, Dragon Rush, and Dialga Palkia's signature move, Roar of Time and Spatial Rend. In Generation 5, we got Dragon Tail and Dual Chop. Dual Chop I didn't even know was Dragon type, which it says something. Dragon Tail is the one that switches people out. Very annoying move. Gen 5 didn't really do too much for dragons. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, neither did Gen 6, because Gen 6 added 0 dragon type moves. Poor thing. No dragon love in that generation. But in Gen 7, we got some Z moves. We got Clanging Scales, which of course is the Jangmo line signature move. Clangorous Soul Blaze, which is their signature Z move. Core Enforcer. I've literally never heard of this move. You ever I know a lot about Pokemon, but sometimes there's just a move that I have never seen. Core Enforcer. If the Pokemon the user has inflicted damage on has already used their moves, this move eliminates the effect of the target's ability. Literally never heard of that move in my life. I've never seen it used, and I've never heard it mentioned ever once. You learn something new every day, and apparently that's Core Enforcer. Who can learn this move? It can't be that many if I've never heard of it. Oh, it's literally just Zygarde. Ah. That makes sense. Okay. I guess I should have guessed it by the core in the move, or in the name, but I've literally never heard of that before. So we're going to move on. Devastating Drake, which is of course the normal Dragon Z move to 2 versions, physical and special, and then Dragon Hammer, which I think is a Alolan Exeggutor signature move. And finally, in Generation 8, we got a lot, the most actually of any generation. A lot of love for dragons in Gen 8. We got Breaking Swipe, Clangorous Soul, which I'm pretty sure is another signature move given to Komodo. Yeah. Wow. They took Clangorous Soul Blaze and took away the blaze and it became Clangorous Soul. That's cool. So they took Clangorous Soul Blaze and they gave it its own move. They should do that with every Z move. Why did they do that with every special Z move? Just give any, signature one. Just give it their own move. Turn it into a normal move. Dragon Darts, of course. Dragapult signature move. Dragon Energy. Another move that I've literally never heard of. Oh, it's Regidrago. That makes sense. I was thinking it was Regidrago. It's like Brine. The lower the user's HP, the lower the move's power. Dynamax Cannon, of course. Eternatus. Eternabeam, another Eternatus. G-Max Depletion, which is Gigantamax Duraludon. Max Wormwind, which of course is just the G-Max move for dragon types, or just the Dynamax. Sorry, I could not remember the word. The Dynamax move of dragon types. And finally, Scale Shot, which Breaking Swipe and Scale Shot are the only non-signature move sort of dragon type moves that were added. And Generation 8 added so many dragon type moves, but so many of them were either signature or like four of those slots are taken up by Gigantamax and Dynamax moves. And that's it. That's the dragon type moves. We have a few more things to do. There's a few items, a few dragon type trainers, and then quite a lot of trivia. But we're going to get to that in just 1 second. Items that are associated with the dragon type are Adamant Orb, Lustrous Orb and Gracious Orb, of course, for Giratina, Palkia, and Dialga. The Draco Plate, which is the plate. The Dragon Fang, which is the boosting move. Dragon Gem, Dragon Memory, Dragonium Z. The Habon Berry, which is the Dragon-type super effective move berry. And Soldew, which is for Latios and Latias. Literally no just like normal items, just like they're all very specific. They're all just like variations on something we have already, or orbs for legendaries, which makes sense. Dragon type has no exclusive signature ability or like exclusive abilities. No abilities are exclusive to Dragon type. Interesting. Notable Dragon type trainers, we of course have Lance, the Gen 1 Dragon type trainer, which didn't really accomplish that much because there was only one in the game at the time. But he was given an upgrade in Gold and Silver. But Claire in Gen 2, Drake in the Elite Four in Gen 3, Drayden and Iris in Black and White, Black 2, White 2, their associated games. Drasna in the Elite Four, who I literally forgot about. Zinnia in Gen 7, technically. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. She was the, the dragon trainer you fought in the Delta episode. Ryuki in the Cantonian Gym in Generation 7, which I don't think I ever fought him. I don't really recall ever doing that, but, technically Gen 7 does have a Dragon-type trainer specialist. And in Gen 8 is Raihan, who is, I always forget, is technically a Dragon-type gym leader, despite only having like 2. But still, Raihan, good old Raihan. Good notable trainers. A lot of very either powerful or very, rememberable trainers. And then there's Drasna and Ryuki. I forgot that both of them literally existed ever. And then, of course, we have like people like Lance and Iris who are so iconic in their dragon type usage. Very, very dichotomous type. A lot of variation. It's you either know so much about it or it's so weird and so obscure that you just forget about it immediately. Anyway, we have quite a lot of trivia to talk about, and then I will give my conclusion. You know what? Actually, I'm going to give my conclusion right now, and then we'll do the trivia conclusion for this type. Good. I think I say this every single type review, but like, it's dragon type. What do you want me to say? I've said so much already. Very, very dichotomous type. Very either cool or strange. Pokemon are, sometimes they're dragons, sometimes they're just weird. It's a very iconic type. So many people love dragon types. One of the most well-known types and just like general concepts in Pokemon, I think maybe of all time, which is good, of course. Dragon is just like the cool older brother. You'll love him. He's awesome. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just a cool dude. And you'll love having him around. Dragon type is sick. Dragon type is awesome. Those are the two words that I would use to describe dragon. Sick and awesome. Anyway, dragon. Oh, I have to give a rating. I forgot. I always forget I have to give ratings for a type review. Oh, let's see. Dragon type. I'm going to say 8 out of 10. Personally, not in general. This is my personal opinion. I'm not really a huge fan of many dragon types. I'm not really a person who picks Pokemon based on how cool they are. But I have to admit that dragons are cool. And Pokemon dragon types are cool. So 8 out of 10 is the highest I'll go, but I think that's a generally very good score for a type like dragon. Anyway, Bug is the only type that has not been paired with dragon thus far. Really interesting. So we only have one type combination missing with dragon, and it's bug. Generation 8 introduced the most dragon-type Pokemon of any generation with 11, and Generation 2 introduced the fewest dragon-type Pokemon with only 1, Kingdra. Generation 8 introduced the most dragon-type moves of any generation with 8, and Generation 6 introduced the fewest with 0. The dragon type is the only type for which a move was not introduced in Generation 6. This is also the only instance of any generation not introducing a move for a type after that type's introduction. And there are only 26 dragon type moves, the fewest of any type. The dragon type, tied with the fire type, has the fewest number of non-damaging moves out of all types with only 2. Dragon is the most common type for pseudo-legendary Pokemon, with only 2 pseudo-legendaries not being dragon. Oh, I guess Metagross technically counts as a pseudo, huh? I made a joke about Tyranitar, but Metagross is also not dragon. In Generation 1, there was no way to do super effective dragon type damage, since the only dragon type attack, Dragon Rage, always deals 40 HP of damage. For the same reason, there was no way to get stabbed from a dragon type move in Gen 1. In Gen 1, no type resisted or was immune to the dragon type, making it the only type to ever have this distinction. However, there were no dragon type moves that utilized the standard damage formula in Generation 1, making this a moot point. It has never been possible for any Pokemon to have either a double weakness or a double resistance to dragon. That makes sense. It's only super effective against itself. And I'm guessing that there is no... No, hold on. What about, a double resistance to dragon would be something that is both fire and water. Wouldn't, Volcanion be, what about water grass? Oh, no. Never mind. I'm thinking about that the wrong way. Yeah, because it's only steel type. So there literally, yeah, I was thinking about it the wrong way. It's right. Because it only has one super effective and only one not very effective offensive sort of, thing. No, you can never have a double weakness or a double resistant. And Sinnoh is the only region without a notable dragon type specialist. In Generation 3, all dragon type moves were cool moves. They're coming for me. Dragon is the most common type to serve as a version mascot, with 7 Dragon-type Pokemon having served as mascots for 8 games of the core series. Dragon-type moves have the most held items that boost their power: Draco Plate, Dragon Fang, Dragon Gem, all 3 Time-Space Orbs, and the Soul Dew. That's a lot, actually. Oh my god. Makes sense. Dragon types be boosting. We're almost done, I promise. The Dragon type resists all 3 of the traditional primary types of the core series starter Pokemon: Grass, Fire, and Water. In addition, it also resists Electric, which was the type of the player's starter in Pokemon Yellow. That's cute. That's a cute little Easter egg. It's not really just a main mechanic that hints at sort of, that dynamic, but it's cool. More Pokemon gained the Dragon type through Mega Evolution than any other type, with 3. I can name them right now: Sceptile, Ampharos, Charizard. Got him. We just went over them. All Dragon-type moves are eligible to use in Sky Battles, and finally, Dragon and Ghost share some qualities. They both originally only had 3 Pokemon in Gen 1, are the only types that are weak to themselves, and have 1 type to immune them and 1 type to resist them. Cool. Dragon type has so much trivia. It's an interesting type. It's a cool type. It's sick. What did I say? Dragon type is sick and awesome. And those are my final words. But before we move on, yeah, there's like more things to talk about. Before we end it for today, we have one more segment to go over. I know you're probably tired of my voice by now. Apparently my voice is also tired of my voice right now because it's getting worse over time. So I'm going to finish this up pretty quick. We have everybody's favorite segment where we talk about a random move every single episode. And today's move is Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch in Japanese is Exploding Punch. It is a damage-dealing fighting type move introduced in Generation 2 and was TM01 in Generation 2, the first of its kind. In Generation 2, Dynamic Punch inflicts damage and has a 99.6% chance of confusing the target. Oh, is that because of like do you think it's because it's like in Gen 2 it's like it randomly generates a number between 0 and 255, and if it's like 256, it doesn't confuse it because it's like the 1% mischance in Gen 1. I assume that's sort of the same mechanic. I might just be wrong. That might just be hard-coded, but I think that's I think the reason behind that is because it's the same thing that does the 1% mischance in Gen 1, or the 100% accuracy mischance in Gen 1. In Generation 3, Dynamic Punch always confuses the target. It also gains a 20% power boost when used by a Pokemon with Iron Fist. Dynamic Punch can be used as a part of a Pokemon contest combination, with the user gaining extra 2 appeal points if they use the move Focus, Energy, or Mind Reader when it was used in the prior turn. I was wondering why this page was so massive, and it's because there's so many Pokemon that can learn this move. Almost every single fighting type and like a lot of other Pokemon can learn Dynamic Punch. Let's look at the descriptions. A fighting type attack. Inaccurate, but guaranteed to confuse the opponent if it hits. Stadium 2, you lie to me. So it is gold, silver, crystal, an attack that always confuses. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that is what the point, that's sort of what it is. The game says it always confuses, and there's a 0.4% chance that it doesn't. So I guarantee you that wasn't intended. Powerful and sure to cause confusion, but inaccurate. The foe is punched with the user's full power. It confuses the foe if it hits. That's pretty much the rest of it. Is there any trivia? Oh, there is. Dynamic Punch is the only fighting type move capable of inflicting confusion, and probably the best trivia that I've ever read. Although it does not possess any hands, Wooper can learn Dynamic Punch. What a Chad. What a great Pokemon. I love that Wooper can learn punching moves despite not having hands. So funny. Anyway, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'm going to end it here. We're done. Go home. I hope you enjoyed talking about the dragon type as much as I did, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Bye.